In this lesson, I will explain to you the concept of Scrum sprint cycle. So this is the cycle of the sprint, how it works, I will explain to you. First of all, Scrum Master, as I have told you, is the leader of the Scrum team, or simply you can say the coordinator. Suppose he or she says we have to make a house. So this is the product owner, right? Product owner make a list. That list in Scrum is called the product backlog. He will write down all the items which we need in order to build a house, right? We had discussed this example so many times. Suppose first of all he will write down cement we need, structure, framing, plumbing, heating, whatever. And the second is the sprint planning. As I have told you, the name says Scrum Sprint. So sprint is the container, and sprint consists of 1 to 4 weeks. Sprint simply we can say is a small project. So in sprint planning, Scrum team forecast or decide how many items we can take from the product backlog in order to complete in 1 week or 4 weeks. It depends on the size of the sprint, whether it is for 1 month or 1 week. Suppose we say we can complete two items, A and B, whatever. So we will write down item A and B in another list that is called the sprint backlog. So simply you can say sprint backlog is the part of the product backlog which we have to complete in 1 to 4 weeks. So this one, suppose if we are taking two items A and B, this is called the sprint goal, that in 1 month we have to complete. But again, it is not necessary that 100% we have to complete. We will try our best to make it, right? When all this list will complete, it is called the product goal. And when each these items are completed, these are called the sprint goal, right? After this, in a sprint planning, the scrum team decides we can complete two items A and B, so that is called the sprint backlog. And then our second formal event is the daily scrum. As I have told you, in a sprint there are four formal events. First one is the sprint planning, second one is the daily scrum. So in daily scrum, only developers, these are the developers, are required to conduct this meeting. If other people, scrum master, product owner, they want to attend, they can attend, but they do not interfere the developers. Only developers are required, and the time limit of this meeting is only 15 minutes. And what they do in the daily scrum, they discuss three important points. The first one is what they did yesterday in order to achieve the sprint goal, what they will do today in order to achieve the sprint goal, and if there are any impediments, only they have to find out any restrictions or impediments they do not want to solve here, because the time limit is only 15 minutes, and each and every member is not required to speak in this meeting, right? So one more thing, that is sprint planning. This event is 8 hours. Maximum is 8 hours if the sprint is for 1 month. Similarly, this meeting is 15 months, whether it is for 1 week or 4 weeks, whatever. Right after this, when suppose this sprint goal is done, then it means our two items are done. It will add the value to our project goal. In order to complete the product goal, these two items are done, they will add the values. So it means these two items are ready. Potentially shippable product increment means they add the value. And the third formal event is after this sprint review, and this meeting is only for 4 hours if the sprint is for 1 month. If the sprint is less than 1 month, definitely these time boxing will decrease. So in a sprint review, they check whether our sprint goal, whatever we had created here, our increment was according to definition of done. Here we check the time boxing, also the budget, right? And then the last is the sprint review, which is only 3 hours meeting if the sprint is for 1 month. Here we check the quality and effectiveness. If the quality and effectiveness is not suitable, we will get feedback. So these are the 4 steps which iterate again and again and again. And one more thing in the sprint review, the product owner invites the stakeholder. This question might come in your exam. In which meeting or in which event stakeholders can participate? Product owner. And who invites? Product owner invites the stakeholder in sprint review meeting, and in scrum team can invite other members or other members of the organization for the advice in sprint planning. Right, I hope this sprint cycle is clear. Whatever I said is written here. Sprint is a container for all other events. Right now this point is clear. Each event in a scrum is a formal opportunity. Formal means we have to adopt, we cannot skip. Suppose if we are experienced, we cannot skip sprint review, or we cannot skip the sprint retrospective and so on. These are formal. We have to, right, to inspect and adopt scrum artifacts. Now what are the scrum artifacts we will discuss in our next lesson, but quickly I will explain to you that sprint backlog, product backlog, and increment, these three are called the scrum artifacts. Right, and all these 4 events we have to conduct on the same place and same time. These events are specifically designed to enable the transparency required. Transparency means each and everything should be clear to everyone. Failure to operate any events as prescribed results in lost opportunities to inspect and adapt. Events are used in Scrum to create regularity and to minimize the need for meeting not defined in Scrum. Optimally, all events are held at the same time and place to reduce complexity. Right? Take the example of the daily Scrum. So where we have to conduct daily Scrum, suppose if we are arranging, it depends on the developers where they think that that place is suitable. Suppose if the daily scrum we conduct daily on room number 100 at 8 o'clock, so each day all the developers should come in room number 100 at 8 a.m. This will reduce the complexity and save time. Sprints are the heartbeat of the scrum, where ideas are turned into value. They are fixed length events of 1 month or less to create consistency. A new sprint starts immediately. This question might also come in the exam. When the new sprint starts, so you have to select immediately after the conclusion of the previous event. All the work necessary to achieve the product goal, including sprint planning, daily scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective, happen within the sprint. As I have told you, these are the 4 formal events. In order to achieve the product goal, scrum team should follow these 4 events, right? And these events we will discuss in our next lessons in detail. During the sprint, what happens during the sprint? A sprint is the small project. No changes are made that would endanger the sprint goal. See, these are highlighted. It means this question might come in your exam. No changes are made that would endanger the sprint goal. Quality does not decrease. It happens, these things happens in a sprint. The product backlog is refined as needed, and scope may be clarified and renegotiated with the product owner, and more is learned. Right? Sprints enable predictability by ensuring inspection and adaptation of progress towards a product goal at least every calendar month. See, This is the product goal. Product means all the items which are written in the product backlog we have to complete. So product goal, Scrum team has to check whether we are proceeding towards the product goal or not, at least every calendar month, once a month. But the sprint goal, they have to check daily. Right, when the sprint horizon is too long, the sprint goal may become invalid, complexity may arise, and risk may increase. As I told you, that a sprint horizon is 1 to 4 weeks. If the question comes, if it is too long, then you have to select these things, that the sprint goal may become invalid, complexity may increase, and risk may increase. Shorter sprints can be employed to generate more learning cycles and limit risk of cost and effort to a smaller time frame. Each sprint may be considered a short project. See, this is the important line. Each sprint is the short project. Various practices exist to forecast progress, like burn down charts, burn up charts, or the cumulative flows. What is the meaning of burn down charts? Here we check how much work is remaining in order to achieve our sprint goal, and so on. While proven useful, these do not replace the importance of the empiricism. And what is the empiricism? That knowledge comes from experience. In complex environments, what will happen is unknown. We do not know what will happen tomorrow. Only what has already happened may be used for forward looking decision makings. A sprint could be cancelled if the sprint goal becomes obsolete. See, this question again might come in your exam. When the sprint cancel, so you have to select when, if the sprint goal becomes obsolete. Sometimes there are two options you have to select, sometimes one. If there is one, so you have to put the check mark on obsolete. And if there are two, so the second will be time box. If the time box of the event will expire, sprint goal becomes cancelled. And who can cancel the sprint goal? Only the product owner. The question might come, when the customer cancels the sprint goal, when is scrum master is responsible to cancel? No, they cannot cancel the sprint goal. Only product owner is responsible to cancel the sprint. So I hope the concept of a sprint cycle is clear. See you in the next lesson, and thank you.